legislation that would limit a woman's right to choose is contrary to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that's why the Liberal Party, as the party of the Charter, while welcoming people's views, is imposing that we vote to uphold the Charter.
Federal Liberal leader Justin Trudeau in damage control mode after announcing he plans to force new Liberal MPs to vote in favor of abortion. Trudeau claims that all views are welcome in the Liberal Party, and he's trying to turn the issue of abortion into a charter debate. Former Liberal MP Tom Appel joins me in Ottawa. Tom, let me ask you about that off the top, as opposed to someone like yourself who served for many years with no problems as a Liberal MP while still being pro-life. Justin Trudeau says this is a charter right. There's no court decision that says that. In fact, the courts have said Parliament can legislate on this issue.
This is what has irritated me so much, because for him to make a bold statement like that, which is absolutely legally false, it seems no one challenges him to say that that's not true. You're absolutely right. There is no Supreme Court of Canada decision anywhere at any time that holds that abortion is a right under the Charter.
They just said the old law was too onerous? Try again.
Try again. And indeed, that's the other thing about the Charter, because Mr. Trudeau says that the Liberals are the party of the Charter. Well, the court said that Parliament has the power and authority to legislate to protect unborn life, or if you will, to restrict abortion, depending on your view. It doesn't have to. It can't be stopped from doing so, but it's as it chooses to do so. So that's a decision of the Morgentaler Court. And so how is it against the Charter or against the Constitution for an MP to advocate for restrictions on abortion when that's exactly what the Supreme Court said that Parliament has the power to do? Now, this is just propaganda.
Over the weekend, Justin brought up memories of my father, essentially saying, this is what I learned from my dad. Well, I pulled out an old letter that his father wrote to then Cardinal of Archbishop of Toronto, Emmett Carter. And he said in this letter, since November, this is December 1981 he's writing this, since November 2nd, 1981, Conference of the First Ministers, Parliament's authority has been strengthened by the addition of the notwithstanding clause to the Charter. Should a court decide at some future date that Section 7 or 15 do establish a right to abortion on demand, Parliament will continue to legislate on the matter by overriding the court's decision and the specific charter right as interpreted by the court. Pierre Trudeau saying, don't worry, if this happens, we'll override it with the notwithstanding clause. Would Pierre Trudeau be welcomed in Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party today?
That's a very interesting rhetorical question. You know, he credits his father with his thinking. Perhaps he should take a look and see what his father said. And this is a perfect example of being selective about when you want to raise the aura of your father. So not only is there a notwithstanding clause, but in the Constitution, in the Charter, there is an amending clause. And so if you're in favor of the Charter, as Mr. Trudeau appears to be, we're the party of the Charter, then you have to also be in favor of the amending formula. So if a member of Parliament decides that they want to bring forward a private member's bill to limit abortion, which is the court has already decided that your Parliament has the authority to do that, can do it, and it's in the Charter that you can amend the Charter, how is that anti-liberal if you're in favor of the Charter?
Well, let me ask you about this, because you've been in liberal circles a long time, and there were lots of pro-life liberals, lots of liberals that come at their politics of all sorts based on their faith. This is not a religious right issue. Sometimes it's been a religious left issue. But how does it feel to you hearing that this is just right-wing religious kooks?
Well, the whole thing bothers me because what's next? This is a charter issue. We've already discussed, we know factually it isn't a charter issue because there is no right to abortion. What's next? Euthanasia? Are all Liberal MPs going to have to vote exactly the way Justin Trudeau says they have to vote because it's a charter issue? We already know that issue is working through the courts with charter arguments. Surely there can't be any more moral issue than the life and death of a human being, including the euthanasia issue. So where's it going to go? Where does it stop? What's the next issue that he's going to make a decree on that has nothing whatsoever to do with a charter decision? Just his decision about how he interprets the Charter without any factual backup. And then nobody challenges him.
Well, and recently MPs did vote on the issue of euthanasia on Francine Lalonde's bill, and it was overwhelmingly against, including New Democrats, including every Liberal MP voting against it. So if the courts turn around and say it's a Charter issue, are those MPs all against the Charter then? It is a false argument that goes in circular fashion.
That's exactly right. And I only wish people could see that, because the propaganda that is being bombarded at them about this issue about abortion and it being against the Charter to somehow want to restrict abortion, and without any factual or legal backup for that statement, is befuddling to me.
Does it surprise you that so many people are willing to be governed by court decisions as opposed to Parliament?
But the court said in Morgentaler that Parliament has the power and authority to legislate with respect to abortion.
But they're willing to say, don't worry about it. Just let's go with whatever courts say and not worry about what Parliament says.
Well, because it's easier to put off the decision, I suppose. Some people like to lead by following. And you let the courts make the so-called tough decisions instead of doing them where they're supposed to be, and that is the People's Forum, which is the House of Commons.
All right, Tom Appel, thanks for coming in.